Hello out there. I'm Chris Bisha of 360 Degree Sound, and we're here in Austin for South by Southwest 2024, talking to some artists, and today we have the pleasure of speaking with HMS Morris. And I was going to write your names down, but then I forgot, so I'm going to have you say it. So this is Heleth, right?
Yeah, I'm Heleth. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. And you are?
I'm Sam.
Sam, thanks.
Easy.
I'm Billy.
Billy.
Yeah, that's the easiest one so far.
Okay, and you are?
Yeston.
Yeston, like Austin, as he pointed out before. So, okay. So I want to know, what's so bloody important that you would come all the way from fucking Wales to fucking Texas for this thing?
Oh my god, I don't even know. People from Wales have been coming out to South by Southwest for a really long time, and they always come back saying that like they've had a hell of a good time, and I don't think we're a band to turn down hell of a good time. No. So I think that's why we're here.
Absolutely, yeah. And the guys at Focus Wales, Andy and Neil, have been coming here for years and putting on showcases, and sort of we've played Focus loads of times. We've done trips abroad with them before, and they always refer to South by as, you know, the mothership, basically. And it felt like time to give it a go.
Right.
Yeah, very exciting.
Yeah, that's great. Why is it important to you guys to communicate with music?
I think we've all grown up with music surrounding us, especially in Wales. They call it the land of song. Yeah, and that's how I think I interpret myself best, is through music and through the Welsh language as well, more than the English language. So being able to share that outside of Wales, our personality and how we live, I think is extremely important.
Mm-hmm. And I noticed that you guys really connect with the audience. Last night we saw you at the Focus Wales showcase at Creek and Cave, and it was brilliant, really high energy, but you really connect with the audience. What's it like connecting with strangers through music, either through recordings or like people showing up at your gigs? How do you feel about that?
It's easy to forget that an audience, it's easy to forget that they're human beings, I think, especially in industry conferences like this. You think of them as, oh, they may be potential financial future for us. So you think of them as something, I don't know, other than human. But when you remember that they're human, that connection is really easy, and you remember that the songs really on this last album is about human connection, so that connection is actually quite easy, I think.
I think there's so much other stuff going on with putting on a show ever, just like getting to the place, you know, learning all your songs and getting all your bits and bobs right, sorting out all your technology and stuff. But you've got to try and remember that ultimately your job or your purpose is to try and connect with the people that are listening to you at that point, isn't it? You know, so and we've tried and build in little bits where we can go and have a little play with the audience and stuff, don't we?
I mean, at the end of the day, we're putting on a show, you know, and we just want to make it as exciting as possible and just have a laugh doing it.
Yeah.
You know, we've travelled thousands of miles with, you know, all of our best friends, and we're just doing what we love, and it's a great laugh, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, and you guys are unique. We were listening last night, and we're trying to kind of describe the sound, and I was really kind of at a loss. So what styles are you guys pulling in to create the music that you make?
I think it becomes what it is because we're all influenced by seriously different people. I grew up listening to loads of pop music on trash music television, and I think there's a lot of pop in the music because of that. And then Sam grew up, would you say like Frank Zappa comes into it sometimes? So who are your influences?
Yeah, Zappa and Queen and Beatles were my parents' people.
I get that. The Zappa thing is
Yeah.
I'm feeling that now.
Well, that's cool.
Take it.
Yeah.
But also, I think like these days, because you haven't just got your record collection that's limited, I don't know, we must be one of the first generations, you know, of musicians that can literally listen to everything and probably have. So it's almost like the old ways of having genres and stuff doesn't quite work in the same way anymore. You know, you don't grow up listening to such a narrow band of stuff as you used to, perhaps. So even though, yeah, I think we were maybe fans of different stuff growing up, that we can understand everyone else's tastes more, perhaps, because we also had a taste of it growing up as well, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Helith, you talked about incorporating the Welsh language as well as English.
Yeah.
I dig that. It's really cool. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, I grew up, we all grew up with Welsh-speaking parents, or at least one parent that spoke Welsh in the family. And it feels really natural for us to just write in Welsh. It's not even a big deal. It's just that's the language we speak. So sometimes we perform it. Sometimes we perform in English because we also grew up speaking in English. I feel like sometimes in Wales it's made into a big deal, but actually it's just natural. Can you say that in any better way than I can? I always feel the pressure when people ask about the language, but we love the language. It's a great language to sing in, and why not share it?
Yeah, absolutely. The first song that I heard of yours was Balls to the Wall,
Yeah.
which you did last night. And that incorporates the Welsh. And then you're like, balls to the wall. Like, okay. So kind of tell me the story of that tune a little bit.
Yeah, that's one of the latest ones that we wrote on the album that came out last year. And it's about, you know what, it's slightly about the whole networking thing. As musicians and events like this, we're expected to sell ourselves all the time. But as Welsh people, we're renowned for not being good at that. So there's a part in the song that's about it being okay to blow your own horn and blow your own trumpet and big yourself up. And basically that's what that is.
Okay.
If you've got something you feel that's good about yourself, sometimes it's okay to shout it. Don't be a knob about it, but talk about it. It's okay.
Yeah, so that's what
pretty
balls
much
to the wall is. Just go for it.
Yeah, just go for
Exactly,
it.
Right.
Just go for
Don't
it.
be held back by your sort of stresses and worries in that way, I guess, isn't it? So we just made a mad song with a just sort of minute of absolute carnage in the middle, because if you want to do that, isn't it? You know, and go for it, balls to the wall.
Yeah.
And then
I
we
love it.
snap back in. Satisfying.
Well, I got a question for you, Billy. I noticed we saw Spires play, and they were both playing tellies. And I noticed you play a telly, and you play a telly. So what's the deal with Telecasters on the guitar these days?
I got to be straight with you. They're higher gear from here. I didn't have a choice in what we picked. I
Fair
had
enough.
it picked for me. I do love a telly.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but I'm a jazz master guy when I'm back at home. The only problem with the telly is I'm so skinny, my rib cage pokes out a bit, and it just smashes against me. So now I've got a huge bruise across my chest.
Get
So
it
I
out.
just go with her.
We won't have you show
No,
that, but I
not
believe
today.
it.
Yeah, we're not normally telly people.
No.
I play an Epiphone Crestwood,
Yeah,
which is
nice.
a bizarre guitar from 1973. But I just choose guitars because I think they're pretty. And it is.
It's nothing wrong with that.
I do miss it a little bit, but that telly's quite nice as well.
Yeah, I get
It's
that.
time for a change.
It's time to spend not the money that I
Yeah, right. All the money that you're making here
Yeah.
in Texas, right?
thousands.
All that oil money.
Customs, if you're listening, they haven't made any money.
Now, Sam, you bring a lot of fantastic sounds
thanks.
into the group. You know, with the keyboards and the computer and your voice, of course.
Thank you.
Is the beard magic? Is that where this comes from?
It is all in there. I had to make sure that I trim at least 10 days before we perform, so that it's got a chance to grow back again, or there's a severe diminishment in the performance level.
Yeah, I've seen that happen.
No, it is. No, well, strangely, actually, all that side of stuff has grown pretty much in sync with my facial hair growing era.
Is that right?
So, like, kicked off when I was about 15, probably moving from just straight piano and bass to like starting to get computers involved and stuff like that. And then it's continued pretty much on a steady progression.
It's like a network of cables, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Network.
It's mirroring the machine.
Yeah, and it's random too, so it
Absolutely,
changes.
there's
I'm
bits
sure.
sticking out everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. And a question for you, Justin. So I like that kind of the angular style that you get in your rhythm. Kind of reminded me a little bit of Talking Heads and Zappa, right? As
Yes.
Sam was pointing out. So what are sort of your influences that you're bringing in?
Man, well, I guess it's like we were saying before, we've all kind of grown up in separate parts of Wales. So it's nice that we all have our own like musical bubbles that we've grown up with and all been influenced by different people. But like personally, mine is just all over the place. Like I love listening to country and folk and like heavy stuff. Like I grew up playing a lot of like punk bands and stuff like that. But like a lot of the Zappa drummers. You got Steve Gadd. Just like these really groovy players. And like I think that's the main thing. Like personally, I tried to bring in is just making the tunes groove, and then if it's time to go mental, then it's time to go mental.
Yeah, it's definitely groovy. Got a little bit of the funk influence in there as well.
Yeah, for sure. Like
It's
think
like
about,
Zappa.
Zappa, or like think about Clyde Stubblefield, the James Brown guys, Vinny Colaiuta. I'm gonna forget people, but,
No, those are great names.
yeah,
to
for
bring
sure.
up,
And
for sure.
like some of the sound, my facial hair comes into it.
I'm sure you've saved that in a bag somewhere.
He's a smooth guy.
Well, we talked a little bit about Wales off camera, and I'm fascinated by the country. And like Dylan Thomas was one of my favorite poets, Sunder Milkwood.
Nice.
I love that poem. And I wanted to name our daughter My Fanwy, but my wife wouldn't let, so she's Lucy. But tell me a little bit about Wales that we should know about the country.
Wet.
It's the highest concentration of moss of any country in the world
Yeah.
Moss.
due to the humid conditions.
Most castles per square mile.
Most castles per square
Okay.
mile. Because we've been under the English yoke since about 1282-ish.
Good.
We haven't
good
really got
scenery,
over it.
Good
Yeah.
mountains,
Good scenery, good
coastline, good people.
Yeah. Got big as a touristic destination in the Victorian era when their train lines opened up the country. But now they've all shut, so there's like some sad seaside towns.
The public transport's quite dodgy.
The public transport is bad.
Yeah.
Famous musicians, we've got Shirley Bassey and Tom Jones.
Tom Jones.
Pino Palladino.
Pino Palladino.
Get that in there.
Yeah.
Pino's our guy.
Yeah. So I can't
Kate
live
LeBon,
Kate
More
LeBon.
recently.
Griff Rhys.
I mean, there's so many. It just seems like a magical hub of musical wonderness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
If
a
you want to
soup
be in a
of
band
magic.
growing up, you can definitely be in a band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get bored in the mountains and there's nothing else to do, so you make music.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's definitely what it is.
Even if it's like 2 or 3 of you,
Yeah.
those 2 or 3 people can really shape
Yeah.
you as a musician.
Yeah.
It's kind of mad.
I mean, we all did music from a super young age because there's just nothing
Yeah.
better to do.
I was in
Really is.
my first band when I was 14, and 5 members and 4 are still pretty much professionally doing music, which is quite a high return. Yeah, no, it's everywhere. And then you're just forced to do it in school as well, singing choirs and stuff. So we've got this big competition, the National Eisteddfod, which has all got loads of like druidic rituals and stuff in it, and it feels like it's really ancient, but actually it came out of like an acid dream in the 1920s. But that's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, why not?
even better.
Yeah. So like it's all marches with big stones and swords and stuff.
And strange costumes.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But a big part of it is competing in choirs and smaller groups of singing and soloists and stuff. So you get a lot of experience of performing from a young age with that kind of stuff
Yeah.
as well.
Right. But you get also taught into, if you can't sing, just mime.
Yeah.
Just mime.
Which is
Yeah.
strong life lessons.
Watermelon.
Exactly that, man.
That's what I did last night.
Well, I want to ask you about the name because I looked it up, and HMS Morris was a British destroyer in the First World War. So
Yeah.
I'm wondering does that connect to you guys at all?
No, absolutely not. Yeah, so the Morris name is my mother's maiden name, and she was the last female who,
Last person.
Last what?
The last person to have that name.
Last person to have that name because there were no brothers, there were no men. So I thought, what a way to carry that name on than to shove it on the band name and take it around the world. So that's what that is. And the HMS side, I was slightly obsessed with the sea for a while. And the thought that being on a band just feels like a group of sailors on a boat riding a storm. Because it feels like a storm sometimes when you're just... It did last night, trying to get on stage in a 15-minute changeover, trying to get your stuff off when there's noise everywhere. I feel like we are sailors in a storm very often.
And then it started pissing rain on you
Yeah.
at the end, so that seemed
We were
appropriate.
all right on that
appropriate.
stage. We had a good cover.
Yeah, we were all right.
It was the load out. We saw you
Yeah.
guys bringing the stuff
That
out.
was-
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what was more wet though, the rain or just the fact that how sweaty I was from doing that gig and then dancing to Alicia Scott. It's too
Oh, yeah.
much. It was literally you, as I came out and you went, "Oh, you're a bit wet. You've been rained on." I went, "No, it's just me."
It's on my internal
Hence
juice.
the water.
Right.
Yeah. Gotta stay hydrated.
This time with you guys. So I'm Chris Bishop of 360 Degree Sound. This is HMS Morris, Helith, Sam, Billy, and Justin. Thank you so much for joining us, and stay tuned for more South by Southwest coverage from Austin. Thanks.
Yeah.